Hi, I'm Don Lombardi, and we're back for another show. And I hope you've been watching my Lombardi Live interviews and have enjoyed them as much as I have enjoyed doing them. You can learn a lot by listening to great drummers play, and you can learn a lot by listening to what they have to say. All of these shows are on Drum Channel YouTube and Facebook, and on drumchannel.com, where there are also hundreds of lessons, concerts, interviews, and jams. It has everything you need to know to become a great drummer or just play for fun. And our special guest today does both. He's also a composer, a guitarist. Join me and welcome Marco Minnemann.
Thank you so much, Don. It has been a while and it's good to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Tell everybody where you're located in the world here. Not that far from us, in California, right?
Not that far. I'm actually in Lake Elsinore and I have my music studio here in my house and everything. And so that's where I am, recording and composing, doing all that kind of stuff, you know, what you can do or have to do during a pandemic, right? Which is now fortunately almost coming to an end, hopefully.
We have a surprise for you, which you know about, and you're all going to find out about what the surprise is coming up in a little bit. You had a box delivered to your house. That's not a complete surprise, because I know you've had this on order for quite some time. To let you know a little bit of a hint of what it's going to be about, it's going to have to do with Queen, going to have to do with Roger Taylor and the big impact that band had on your life also, right?
Very much, very much. The thing is that Queen, I think, was the band got me pretty much into playing music. When the album News of the World came out, my parents bought that album, and as soon as I heard the record, I was like, okay, what is this? The variety of the album and everything that was on it, and started with We Will Rock You. Every kid wants to join in and do that. And at the very end, the guitar solo comes in, so I grabbed the tennis racket of my father and started playing guitar on it, so to speak, and the rug in the living room became the stage. So that was my first experience with Queen, and much to the amusement of my parents, they kept playing the record then over and over again until they felt like that I had enough of it, and then they bought me the next Queen record. Obviously, I never had enough of Queen, and I love those guys.
First, I thought I'd get into something that's pretty serious and technical. You know, great drummers see you play, and it always comes up to, like, you know, how did he gain the knowledge, and how did he get his technique? And I'll sometimes say, well, maybe it's what he's drinking, or maybe it's what he's eating. And I hear that Vinny Appice and Tony Franklin had lunch with you recently. What did you eat? Give us a clue here.
Yeah, we have pretty much our weekly muso hang, meanwhile, because Tony and Vinny, we're all like in the same, you know, area. And so we get together at one of our favorite Italian places, and then we order mainly for breakfast just like literally a latte, coffee latte, and a croissant. So nothing really, you know, that kind of makes you well, we're looking for 17/16 automatically.
Us drummers out there are looking for any secrets that can help, for sure.
Yeah, right.
And I think back in the day, Illegal Aliens, was that one of your first bands?
Oh yeah. But back in the day, exactly. That was, you know, one of my bands I had. But then also I was playing with Paul Gilbert by the time, and then also soon after, like, you know, some really hardcore metal stuff like Necrophagist. And then Joe Satriani a little bit later, and then my own band, the Aristocrats, of course, which is pretty much, you know, an ongoing band of mine for over 10 years. In fact, we celebrate our 10th anniversary, and we just got a new album out as well, which is called Freeze. It's live in Europe 2020. Hey. And there's a tribute to Neil Peart actually on it as well.
Yeah, you know, something I'd like to take a look at is a little bit of a clip of Aristocrat. Let's take a look at you playing with the band for a second. We'll be right back. You know, an amazing thing about your career, Marco, I've known a lot of drummers in my life, of course, and as is just life, careers kind of sometimes have a wave where you'll be, doing a major amount of work, and then it might slow down a little, and then it picks up and slows down. I think we say drummers are never out of work, by the way. Sometimes they're between gigs, but drummers are never out of work.
There you go, that's right.
But your career, if you look at it, you just not only reinvent yourself, but you keep coming out with new projects year after year after year. The newest one is with Randy, and what just motivates you to keep pushing the envelope and going and going and going?
Well, thank you for saying that, but the thing is, it's not really that hard, to do, I think, for me at least it is, because to me, music and writing and playing belongs to my life. It's joy, it's not work, it's pleasure really, and a passion. And the other thing is, it seems like, people see like, a lot of albums coming out and a lot of releases, and that may be true. However, look, other people go to work, and work 8 hours a day. I sit here and play and record maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. I'm not actually kind of working myself to death here. It's just like I write and, then obviously releases come out, And so the thing with Randy is a fantastic new band I'm doing, or duo, He's an incredible musician, a great singer, a great guitar player, plays bass and keyboards as well. And so do I. So we're both multi-instrumentalists. And when we write, actually both are songwriters as well. And we bring the songs to the table, elaborate them, and then make an album of it. And it's such a joyful process because we both have the same ideas and we complement each other. So that already speeds up the process and just creates wonderful things. And you have also like an additional set of ears always, so you never kind of, get stuck in your own world. You always can complement each other. And that's what makes the Maxstein and Minnemann duo so pleasing and or pleasant. Yeah. Yes,
Randy Maxstein is who you're speaking of course.
Yeah, that's right, Randy Maxstein.
And people have to realize when you're talking about duo, we're not talking about the Everly Brothers out there, folks. We're talking about two people that play all of these instruments. It's guitar, bass, acoustic, I think, electric guitar, bass, drums, keyboards. And do you both, I know what instruments you play, which is all of those. He also, how do you divide up who's playing what on the tracks?
It's usually the one who writes the song plays most of it and sends like, the stuff in, and then asks the other person to kind of complement the song or do something with it. And it's amazing because here's the thing. Yeah, I sing as well, if you can call it singing. I can bring the message across, let's put it that way. But Randy is a really great singer. And so for me, for example, it was just a great relief and contribution hearing my songs with a singer who actually can really sing. It's amazing. So, for me, these are the things when I do my solo albums, I just sit there, and obviously the vocal part is kind of a weak link. That's where I have to spend the longest time. I hear, meanwhile, when I write songs, I hear Randy already inside of my head. So I can actually write the songs and tailor them, hopefully to his liking, so to speak, So, and then I know, it's one of those things. I know what's coming back is great. It's such a fantastic kind of way of working, I really think.
Let's listen to a little bit of the group.
Yeah, thank you.
Check it out, and we'll be right back.
Be a prince and savior, I could be a piece of meat. I'm not so proud of begging you, but there's a home out on the streets. I am the saddest warrior, I can record the waste too much. I'm scared to make a promise, you're the believer, you're the judge.
That is amazing. Why don't you go through a couple of the other songs and explain to me what you have on there and how you arranged them and wrote them?
Absolutely. So from the Maxstein and Minnemann 2 album, that is like really, I think, something we're very proud of, and it has like a very wide variety or palette of styles. And I think musically and also lyrically, it's a very deep effort, of ours. And it starts, it's like one of those things. Usually I'm a worst critic. You know, when you listen back to your own recordings, usually you find something, you know, go like, this could have been done better. This could have been done differently or something. But with that album, Randy and I kind of looked at each other and went like, you know what? We did ourselves really justice here, you know, not to pat ourselves on the shoulder, but it was actually, we're both incredibly proud of it. Every song came out exactly the way we wanted it to be, or even better. And so it starts off with actually a song which is called I Don't Need It. And that is actually an opening track from Randy, which is reminds me of like a little quirky pop wave tune. And the song after is called I Don't Feel, which is a song that I wrote. And that has like almost like a jazz fusion and rock vibe with a pop chorus. So that one is getting also a lot of love because it features, you know, the instrumental parts, but it also features like a song-oriented part. And so it goes, you know, through different phrases. I won't obviously name every song here, you know, but there are like some climaxes or like some parts, you know, that are worth pointing out. There's a song called Big Wave, which is co-produced by Tim Palmer, who worked with Robert Plant and many others. And he did a great job. And it's a very rock pop, almost like, you know, radio friendly song, I would say. And then we have like side 2, which is basically very, very quirky stuff and very complex stuff. So there is actually a song called Hello Dear Miss Swanson, which is one of the funniest things I probably ever wrote. And it's just like, it sounds like, you know, really uplifting, and it has almost like a up-tempo bebop feel to it, but with really almost like sarcastic or ironic lyrics. So it's like one of those songs where we just had a laugh, both of us. So the album presents like a lot of joy, a lot of fun, but also like a lot of vulnerable and heartfelt topics. There's a song called The Horse is Dead, which is really dark actually, and also a song which is called Running in Place. And these songs actually are very, very serious, and they end the album also on a very serious note. So hopefully, you know, you will agree that when I say, you know, that the album will take you on a journey, you know, through like a wide, you know, variety of styles, like a huge palette, and hopefully you'll find it entertaining. And there you go.
Almost an opera, the way you're explaining it.
You know what? It sort of is. It's a. I hate to say it, but yeah, it is sort of a concept album. It really is.
Probably.
We didn't even plan it that way. It just came out that way, you know.
No small coincidence. So the Queen reference there, that could have something to do with the way you thought of it, without you even knowing.
I know. Well, the Queen. Check this out. So here's the thing. This morning, when I got out of bed and I got my morning coffee before we chatted, I was like grabbing into my shirt bin there, and I kind of pulled out a shirt, and guess what it was? Flash Gordon, which was also like one of Queen's soundtracks. So I thought like, wow, that's way too much of a coincidence. Picking actually a Queen shirt right before our Zoom talking about, well, the following special item, right?
Yes, yes, which why don't, we're going to take a really short break, come right back, and we're going to have you grab that box and open it up and see what you think. Be the surprise the surprise inside the surprise. We'll be right back.
Hey, Chad Smith here. I'm at the Drum Channel. Huh!
Hi, I'm Don Lombardi. About 40 years ago, I started DW Drums in my garage. During that whole period of time, I was lucky to get to know many of the greatest drummers and teachers of all time. Drum Channel is a unique opportunity for you to invest in your future, and we have made sure that it's worth it. All right, I'll have you grab the box. First I want to ask you though, where those CDs are available at right now.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Thank you. So these CDs, please grab them at bandcamp.com. Those guys, really are amazing. They treat the musicians very nicely. It's a very cool way of ordering. The price is fair, and it's just a great site to order from. So if you want to kind of, order the Maxstein and Minnemann albums, or also the Aristocrats albums, so please feel free to find us on Bandcamp under our name.
Okay, a little bit more of the history of you with your influences with Queen, but grab the box that you got. Let's open that up.
Christmas.
This is it. This is it. Yeah, Christmas in the middle of the year here.
Well, first of all, I already have the box right in front of me.
Okay.
You know, can you imagine how difficult it was for me not to open the box?
I'm sure.
And I didn't. See, both ends are fully sealed. I didn't cheat. I didn't kind of open them and put it back together. I was a good kid.
I believe you. I know it was hard.
When you said, like, I remember, like, you know, the box came in and Don said to me, well, you, exactly so, but just as a story for the listeners and viewers, it's like, hey, you know, that snare drum is coming in. Now I gave it away, didn't I? But I knew that because I wanted that snare drum.
You ordered the snare drum a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard of it, okay, here's the background story. A friend of mine saw it online that you guys did a Queen snare drum. And I was like, oh my God, and it's limited. So I wrote Steven Vega, and I said, like, hey man, do you guys still have that snare drum available? And he says, like, oh, I don't know, we can maybe still make you one. I was like, man, I'm a huge Queen fan. And then obviously that information got distributed. I think, you know, the next thing I know is like we were in touch, and he said, like, hey, that snare drum is almost ready. But the thing is, and then he said, when it was ready, you're gonna send it over, but please don't open the box.
Crack it open and see what's inside. While you're doing that, I want to tell you that I recently did an interview with the great Efren Toro, and he paid you a fantastic compliment. Said you're one of his favorite drummers of all time, which is amazing, and he wants to play with you too coming up.
Yeah, Efren is a great guy. We've played in the past already, like we had like a few jams. Oh wow, that looks great. Holy cow. Fantastic case too. So
okay. Let's see if we were able to pull it off here.
Yeah.
So finally, after waiting a year.
Oh wow.
What do we have on?
Holy cow. Oh. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Is that Roger's signature?
Absolutely. It went around the world for him to take the drum head and sign it personally and bring it back over so you would have it.
Oh, that is so fantastic. I'm moved. I'm actually literally moved. It means really so much to me. This is like, you know, the band that really got me into playing music, basically, right? So, well, now I can't play that snare drum anymore. Now I have to hang it up.
Well, you'll have to put the head up on the wall.
Take the drum head.
And then, yeah, you'll have your own drums you'll have your own heads that you can put on there for sure. Well, one of the coincidences.
So sweet. Thank you.
Sure. One of the coincidences I thought is that Roger also sang and played guitar, and was that?
Yes, that is correct. He is actually an amazing singer. He sings also some of the Queen songs. They all sing. Freddie sings, obviously, or sang, and then Brian May, obviously, and John Deacon more background vocals, and Roger also, you know, lead vocals. Brian and Roger did also lead vocals along with Freddie, and so you hear, for example, Roger's voice on the song called "I'm in Love with My Car" with this actually very famous song of his. But he also is the one responsible for all the high falsetto voices in songs like Bohemian Rhapsody and stuff. So Roger is actually an amazing singer, and he does play guitar, and also on some of the Queen songs, you know, some of his own songs, he does play guitar as well. So he's what I call a very well-rounded musician, like not only playing, you know, for the playing sakes, but playing for the song, you know, and also, you know, as a writer, you know. And I guess this is something you learn when you write songs. Because when you play guitar and piano and this kind of stuff, and you write the song, and then you record first of all these instruments, and then you play drums on top of it, you immediately, you know, are aware of where can I shine and where do I have to stay out of the way to feature the other instruments. I think that's very, very important. I know when you're a young drummer and you want to shine, you know, and you want to, you know, make a statement, try to not overdo it, you know, try to get this out of the way as quickly as possible. Think as a songwriter. The most beautiful things happen within the song. And it's better to kind of, you know, shoot the bullets, you know, whenever it's appropriate, you know. So, you know, you groove as hard as you can, you know, and as good as you can. And then whenever there's like a fill where you can shine or like a spot for you to solo, do that. But I guess, you know, the discipline of music is really something, you know, that happens over a course of years, you know. So I guess, you know, it comes with experience. So there's always something to look forward to. By all means, you know, do crazy albums, have fun, but never lose the musicality. Always kind of, you know, remember that. And you know, that's just a piece of advice. I don't want to kind of talk people into what to do or something. I just can talk from my experience, speak from my experience. The more you have released, the more you can sit back and relax and just concentrate on the musical part.
So it's a good thing to get your extreme independence and your extreme drumming, which you certainly have and you accomplished. Then you're just saying you then have the facility. That's what we talk about on Drum Channel a lot. What you're doing is just gaining facility so that you can use it if you need to in a musical circumstance.
I tell you what, absolutely. And that's what I kind of, you know, talk about, you know, a lot when people ask me about this. Here's the thing. It is fantastic to broaden your alphabet, to be able to speak any kind of words or language, you know, multiple languages. There's nothing wrong with it, you know. So, but here's the thing. You never really use it, you know, always, but you can. So I like the headroom. If you have enough horsepower, it feels comfortable to play whatever, you know, you want to. And you still have headroom to go further if needed. And it is kind of funny, you know, because you should see it that way. You know, some people get close-minded with it and go like, oh, why should I need this? Or why should I kind of learn that or this? And you go like, well, you know, it is, I think, very good to at least have that headroom so that you can pull it out should you be needing it. It's kind of strange when people complain about like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't need this. Have you ever heard like the opposite approach where somebody has the facility and goes like, oh my gosh, I learned too much? That wouldn't happen, you know. So it's good to learn, you know, to broaden your spectrum.
How would you approach, or how would you suggest a young drummer approaches, you know, his practice time in terms of working on his independence compared to just his technique, compared to reading, the importance of being well-rounded as just a musician, as a drummer?
Well, how I always explain it is, I show examples about, you know, when I play, let's say 5 against 7 or 5 against 9 or all those things. And there is like the approach of just being technically able to do so. But then there's also the approach to make it sound good and use dynamics and let it breathe. So, you know, there are videos out there, you know, of me doing that. And so, for example, if you play like the 5 between like 2 instruments, let's say the hi-hat and the snare drum, and then play the 7 against it with like 3 toms, you automatically have a counterpart, but you also have melody and groove in it. So that instantly becomes, it gets a flow, I would say, you know, it has a groove, it has a flow. So that already kind of sounds like a musical statement and not just like an exercise. So what I would recommend, first of all, practicing, that's another advice I can hopefully give, is first of all, freeing the hi-hat, you know, like your left foot, you know, from the regular patterns of playing like quarter notes or 8 notes. Play the 8 notes off and then improvise on top of it. If you accomplish that, play like 16th notes off. And then solo against that. These are still things, you know, that have to be, you know, developed by a lot of drummers. And yeah, I started with that very, very early, like those things, the 16th off, or like 2 16ths. But with the foot, with the left foot, and then you solo over it. So that is already kind of a big step of getting more independent in general, and also like, you know, feeling odd 16th note, for example. So that to me was like, you know, or is a great introduction, I guess, you know, for people who are curious about that subject, because it's still groovy and hopefully will remain being groovy, and it is fun to play. And so that for me would be like, you know, the first advice.
And for young drummers out there who are just maybe becoming aware of yourself and what we're talking about with independence, give a quick explanation of the 6 ways you would go through a 6-way independence course so that they would understand what 5 and 6 are. Can you give us a quick little explanation of that?
Well, you know, the thing with the courses, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because that concept is meanwhile almost like half a century old, isn't it? 25 years old, you know, but still people, you know, learn from it, which I'm very, you know, flattered by, you know. So, but the idea, first of all, how I came up with that was not because I wanted to do something extraordinary or something. I just did it out of necessity because I heard in my head for one of the songs I wrote a double hi-hat pattern, which is paradiddles. And so I started playing it, and then I inverted the paradiddle, and it began to flow. And then I thought, like, wow, I should put like something like a groove on top. Well, but I didn't have a kick drum available anymore because my feet were playing the paradiddle. So I hung a gong drum up on that side that I could use, you know, to play a groove. Boom, between the gong drum and the snare. And then my right hand would be able to play, let's say, 3/16 note or something, or patterns on the right cymbal or on one of the hi-hats. And that was really my first introduction to the six-way independence. And I thought, like, wow, this actually works. Let's see if the people like it, because that feeling to me was bigger than money, I have to say, or anything like that, because it is something that money can't buy when you kind of all of a sudden develop something that you've never heard before. And it makes you want to run out and tell the people about it. And you know, I always tell that story, but it's like if somebody comes with a $40 million helicopter and goes like, hey, look, I got a $40 million helicopter, then I would go like, yeah, but can you play inverted paradiddles and with your hands and play something on top of it? No, I can't. Well, then you can take your helicopter and go away now. So that's kind of a thing. Money can't buy you talent. So I think, and that to me was the biggest development or start of this six-way independence development. After that worked and after people appreciated it, I started to build on it. So, and the concept that I came up with first was super simple inside of my head. Obviously, it's difficult to translate at first when you never played something like that. But it gradually you get very quickly, you know, to the top of the pyramid, I always call it. You have all these letters, and then they kind of get smaller and smaller, and then you have like this headroom where you don't think about it anymore. So the concept was playing basically, you know, combinations. First of all, in a 4/4, whatever you can have within like 4/16 notes in a 4/4 pattern. It would be, I think, what is it, 24 combinations, and then you would play it first, you know, with your feet, and then start playing the same amount of 16th notes, but with the other pattern. So we start like just with like, let's say, single notes, you know, like singles, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then you start playing the same thing, you know, on top of that with your hands. And then you play doubles on top of that. And then you play paradiddles on top of that same pattern. And then you start with doubles on the feet. And then you start at some point with like paradiddles. And then again, play first single strokes, double strokes, paradiddles on top of it. And then, so that would be the first way. And then the rest is just quite simple. You play it, you know, between your hands and your feet. And then the second would be playing it with your left side of the body against your right side of the body. And then you have actually the left foot and the right hand against the right foot and the left hand.
Those are that's the tricky ones.
Those are really, yeah. Those are really the tricky ones. That's true, but it's kind of it's really fun, you know, to do so. And then there's the other way of independence, where instead of playing two sides against each other, you play three elements against each other. Not against each other. Yeah, you form a groove with three elements. Take one element out and then solo with that one hand or foot against it. And then the sixth version would be playing basically like one element, forming a pattern with just one hand or with one foot, and then try to solo with the rest of the three elements against that. That stuff, I mean, you know, you can take it wherever you want to, you know, but it's also creative. Look, you know, it's not that it fell from the sky, you know, like it was, I wasn't waking up one day and going like, oh, cool, this is it. I had to work on it, but I also had templates. So I have to obviously mention, you know, the great George Lawrence Stone and stick control, because without those patterns, obviously, and the rudiments, you know, I wouldn't have been able to kind of, you know, put them into an independence sort of form. And the other guy was who I was actually felt very honored to write one of the forewords and contributions to his re-release, which his daughter asked me to do, was Gary Chester. So Gary Chester's book, The New Breed, that was like another one of those things that already deals with elements, with one elements that you kind of put on top of a groove. He kind of started that thing already. So, and I think, you know, those were the templates I've been using to develop my own style and my own way of seeing independence. Because I took like the things that were sort of not in the books. I took the things of what could I do with it? And then I kind of started, oh, hang on, I can also play this with the feet, or with that side of the body, or with this. So it kind of gradually developed, you know.
Let's take a look at that for a second, and we'll show you what we're talking about in the six-way independence course that we have. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words in this case, because you'll see it happening.
Let's do the same thing, like really slow. So I start like within like something like 70 beats per minute. Yeah, something like that, I guess. So here, on the eighth notes.
So here you're doing, on the screen we're seeing number 1.
Yeah.
The feet are playing the quarter notes in your hands.
Exactly.
Playing right, left, right, left.
Yeah. Is that slow enough?
Yeah, I think good.
Okay. So then I will keep actually the click track pattern, like the pattern itself, like the quarter notes, but move them to the hands. Here we go.
Now the hands are playing what the feet just finished playing.
Exactly.
One,
I always try to keep like, you know, this groove going.
Okay. 1,
Now, 2, 3, here come the feet. 4.
This is exercise number 2.
Yeah.
Hands are playing the time, feet are playing the pattern.
Exactly. 3, left side.
Now you're playing the time between the hi-hat, your left foot, and your
Exactly.
left hand. 1,
Left hand.
2,
That's
3,
the one, that's the quarter notes, and now the right foot and the right hand will play the eighth notes. 3, 4.
So we kind of think of the left foot and the left hand playing the pattern.
Yeah, the time.
The time, in this case it's quarter notes, and you're just playing eighth notes with the right hand and the right foot. Eventually you'll
Yes.
be able to improvise with those two.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then we go,
Number 3.
now it's number 4. So we move the quarter note pattern to the right side.
So bass drums in the
Bass drum and snare drum
Right
or right
foot,
cymbal,
right,
whatever
yeah.
whatever you feel like.
right foot, right hand.
Right
1,
hand. 2, 3, 4. Oh.
Then you're playing the pattern against it.
Yeah, with the left side.
Starting with the left foot. The left
Yeah.
foot's on 1 and 2 and
Yes. 1, 2,
8.
3, 4. So now I move the pattern to the left foot and the right hand.
So now you're crisscrossing your body for the first time.
Exactly, that's the first time it goes like this.
Left foot.
So this is exercise number 5.
Yeah. And you're playing the time again, but between your left foot, right hand.
Exactly.
1, 2.
Here we go with the pattern, with the melody. Ha! See? It's like
The eighth note pattern then is between your right
Yeah,
foot and,
and the
your
left hand.
Crossing over the
Yeah.
other 2.
and so that's the final exercise for that thing.
Crossing the other direction.
Exactly. That's number 6.
Time is between your right foot and your left hand. 1,
Exactly.
2, 3.
And the melody
4.
will be played by the left foot and the right hand on top. See? I screwed up now.
No.
Let's see. Here we go. See, it's tough to slow this thing really down, and you have to think about each and every hit, you know, which goes together or not. Yeah.
Let's take that last one there.
Yeah.
Keep going. Maybe slow it down a little more. Would you have to get that to the point where you actually think of when they're coming together,
Yeah.
right, left, together?
Together. You know, like this goes together and then this goes together. High it with the foot, high it with the left hand. High it with the foot, high it with the left hand. High it right foot, high it left hand. These go together.
You're a icon piece of history in the drumming community, you know, what you've brought to the instrument. And so many younger generations of drummers have looked up to you as time goes by, and, you know, in aspiring to seeing, you know, how they can attain that degree of proficiency also. It's just, it's amazing. What do you see happening for this rest of this year?
Well, you know, we have just, first of all, I'm very blessed, I have to say, that I have my music studio here at home. So I was able during the pandemic to be part of a lot of great recordings and releases, and including some of my own releases, like I said, the Maxstein and Minnemann releases, but also our new Aristocrats album, which just got released actually. So, and well, we have some unfinished business with the Aristocrats tour, because we had to obviously stop. And I think our tour ended in the UK. That was like, you know, when we finished our touring cycle, and we were planning to go to Asia, Southeast Asia, and then also Latin America. And so we have to sort of fulfill that promise, I suppose, you know, at some point. So that's something to look forward to. And also there's like some great news touring with Randy Maxstein together. And we have already a pretty big project lined up. We're going to be on the Cruise to the Edge with Yes together. And so we're going to do that whole experience. And so we're looking very, very much forward to this whole thing. And
I think we first met at a PAS show, which was, yes, if I'm correct, I saw you play there, and my mind was completely blown. And I remember sitting upstairs kind of like on a balcony, and we had a meeting and a great conversation. And shortly after that, something that I would love to revive again, you went out and did a tour with Terry Bozzio and Chad Wackerman, the three of you together. Amazing.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And I remember very well our first meeting that we ever had. And by that time, if it's okay to reach out a little, I'll make this short as quick as possible. But I remember clearly, I was at that stage where drum companies were just approaching me left and right. And at some point, I had a little bit of a problem with deliveries with the previous company. I won't name who, you know, but that's long time, you know, a long time ago. It's all good. But I remember walking through the through the PASIC and kind of going like, you know what would I actually buy? What would be the drum set that I would, of my choice? And I stopped actually at your booth, and I loved your work. And then, you know, I was fortunate to kind of, you know, meet you and John immediately. You guys were so nice to me. You guys were listening to the ideas I had and translating it into the drums. I guess, you know, the three of us pretty much, I came up with the idea, I guess, you know, also introducing the gong drum, and then also the rada toms, you know, which were the octobans previously, but now actually they're made of wood and they became the rada toms, right? You know, so those were things, you know, that are amazing. And then also including like foot snares and cool hi-hats, you know, with links and all kinds of stuff. Great hardware ideas, a 13-inch snare drum, which was fantastic. So you guys were always right there and right kind of coming up with these amazing things and translating the ideas I had in my head for my own drum set. I'm sitting in front of this beautiful Purple Heart kit, which is incredible, for example. So there you go.
Marco, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you have a busy schedule. I think you have a band meeting later today. Don't forget about that.
That is correct. That is correct. I have actually a studio session and a band meeting.
The busiest guy on the planet here. No, nothing slowed him down.
The studio session, that is actually quite the thing, because I'm doing a thing which involves conical with the great amazing bass player Mohini Day. So I just actually already wrote everything like a cheat sheet out with a lot of odd numbers and things. So that's what's coming on right after we're finishing the Zoom call. So that's going to be fun. But then the band meeting is in San Diego, and that is with the band Witherfall. That's the thing. I haven't mentioned that even, because we just released an album together. It's a pretty known band, you know. It's like, you know, more in the metal genre, prog metal. And we have actually a meeting which I completely at first forgot about. And It's today and tomorrow we're going to stay there because they're launching their own wine. There's a Witherfall wine. So we're going to be at the wineries, have a band meeting. So this band meeting will be probably, and it will end up actually me not being able to operate machinery that day. So I'll stay over actually at the hotel. The good kinds of meetings, right?
Here's a guy who has so many things going on, he almost can't remember what he's doing. Good thing I'm here to remind you.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
Great job, Marco. Well, have a great day, and I can't wait till we can get together here in person, which will be coming up before too long.
Absolutely.
Do some jamming back in the room with Terry and really have a great time, as we always do whenever we get together.
That's fantastic. Is Terry going to be there as well? Is he here?
Terry's hopefully coming back from Japan anytime. He's waiting to get his shot over there. He's been sequestered in Japan for the whole year, so he's dying to get back. He's hoping the end of this month he'll be able to return. So,
how cool! I'm looking forward to hanging with Terry again. It has been also a few years. So we have a whole family meeting.
We've got it planned. We got a plan for sure. So I thank you so much again for taking time out of your busy schedule, and I look forward to seeing you in person here at Drum Channel Studios. We got a lot of fun things planned coming up.
And I hopefully see you very soon. Not hopefully, I will see you very soon actually at Drum Channel again, which is like such an amazing platform, to really distribute so much talent, for young and old, to see and to learn, with each other. So I can't wait to be back actually there as well after the pandemic and do some more playing and hanging and drum talk and all kinds of cool stuff.
We're here and we'll make it happen. Marco Minnemann.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Don.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Drum Channel. And I'll see you at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode. Same time, same place. It's Lombardi Live.